Good morning, folks. Hope everyone's doing well. Just went over a month there. Anyway, yeah, I've been up since about 3 something, and usually when that happens, it's game over. You got to get up, go to the bathroom, whatever. It's pretty much game over after that point. So I've been praying for the last several hours up until where my alarm went off, and over a lot of different things, people, situations, circumstances, anything and everything I could pretty much think of or came to my heart or my mind. And then then I discover that Ben Gurion Airport apparently got hit by some hypersonic missiles or missile overnight. And so I implore you, okay? I probably said this, I don't know, thousands of times over the years. I'm sure other people have too. But I implore you, prepare, get ready. I don't know if you've all noticed or not, if you've been out on the roads, traveling, going back and forth to work, whatever, but gas prices have gone up quite a bit over the last week. I expect them to go up even more. So you might want to stock up on gas cans, what have you, before people can't afford gas, because there will definitely be ramifications from this. This is pretty big. This is huge. And I guess it was the Houthis again, those annoying little Houthi rebels, right? The dude's hanging around in sandals or whatever, but causing all kinds of problems, right? Because nobody wants to take them seriously. But I guess they take them seriously enough to bomb the snot out of them and kill a bunch of civilians. You know, if you don't believe me or you don't think that's true, just check out Gerald Celente and Judge Napolitano's conversation on that. Yeah, good job, guys. The attacks apparently killed a bunch of civilians, a bunch of innocent people. Shocking, huh? Yep, that's what we do. We just kill off everybody, right? Anybody that stands in our way. It just, doesn't matter. Collateral damage, right? No big deal. I know I'm sounding facetious about that, but let's go back a few days now and let's look at what's happened and where we are now, right? So we're in the process of prices most likely skyrocketing in every way, not just gas, but probably groceries and everything else. Went to the store last night. Everything was pretty well picked over, and prices are astronomical. So I'm thinking, well, okay, might want to stock up. Might want to get what you need to get while you still can, while it's available, and while it's still somewhat affordable, because prices just continue to go up. And it's not so much that the prices are going up, that the dollar is falling, that the value of the dollar is falling. That's really what's happening here. That's exactly what's happening, is that the dollar is just crashing. But people don't want to see that or recognize that. But that's what's happening. So it's more that than anything. But anyway, so let's go back again. I digress a few days here, okay? When the Signal app thing, was a big issue. Still should be. And it still may be here in the very near future. I don't know. But I've been watching over the last couple of days and listening, because I've just been able to have the opportunity to do so where I work at. I kind of work on my own a lot of times, so I'm able to watch or listen, mostly listen to some things. So I've been listening to the Senate and the House meetings on this whole thing, national security and whatnot. And these are my observations. And I actually contacted quite a few veterans I know as well about this, because I wanted to get their take. Either veterans or people in law enforcement and prior law enforcement, whatever, because I wanted to get their take. I want to say, maybe I'm being too harsh here. Maybe I'm being overly judgmental. No, I don't think so, because pretty much all of them agreed with me, even up to the point, one of them, that these people deserve jail time for what they did. At the very least, they need to all resign, except maybe for Kash Patel, because he wasn't involved in this, from what I understand. But anybody else involved in that Signal chat group, they need to lose their jobs. They need to resign. And like I said, I'm in agreement, as well as another veteran I know, that military veterans I'm talking about, of course, people that have been in combat or, have trained to be so, and done their time and honorably discharged and didn't, break security protocols and didn't do anything incredibly stupid to lose their career or their rank or anything like that. They just did what they were supposed to do while they served in the military. Imagine that. So these people should resign, and a lot of them, if not all of them, should get jail time. And people say, well, that's harsh, that's mean. Why? Why? Because they can't be trusted. That's why. Why? Because they're a bunch of immature morons. They're very childish, and they don't take their job seriously, even though they say they do. Because when you put punch emojis and fire emojis in your Signal chat group, you're a child. You're immature. You don't take your job seriously enough. And if people that have contacted me about this, I said to them, whatever happened to a war room? Whatever happened to secure facilities? Whatever happened where people strategize and they, come up with plans and a means of attack or what have you, and people are mature about it and they sign off on it, and they come into agreement and they send the orders out to the generals, the admirals and whatnot, and using the chain of command, then the orders go down to wherever they need to go down to, so everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing and when things are going to be implemented and carried out. No, not these people. No, we got to do a Signal app, a chat group. We got to do it like that, because we're so sophisticated now that everything has to be so, everything has to be so technologically oriented, and that this is how we do things now, so we'll just do a chat group, and and let's all talk together. That way we can talk all around the world, where Tulsi Gabbard was on a flight somewhere and she was out of the country and whatever else, and we can all get together and we can all be in agreement, and let's just brag about what we're doing, and let's talk about, and as I'm looking at this and listening to the hearings, the Senate hearings, the congressional hearings, the House hearings or whatever, I'm thinking to myself, you people are children. You're like high schoolers or college kids, getting on a chat group talking about how you're going to party after the big game this weekend or whatever. Yeah, we're going to go kick some butt, then we're going to go party, I mean, it's childish. It's immature. It's a joke. And now the ramifications. And people say, well, that was Israel. Oh, you wait, okay? It's Israel now. You wait. The ramifications. Because no one's held accountable. No one's held responsible, right? Yeah, they've had to answer a few questions here and there. And that was very interesting too, because immediately they go on the offense. Immediately. How dare you question us? How dare this happen? How dare that happen? We're trying to save American lives here or whatever, and we're doing the best job we can, and blah, 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 blah. And immediately they go on the offense. And then they forgot, like Miss Gabbard there, security, or what is it, Director Gabbard, you're not a congresswoman anymore. So guess what? Now you have to answer the questions. You don't get to ask the questions. You have to answer the questions. And it was interesting, because I wonder if somebody chatted with her, had a talk with her, or maybe she came to her senses and realized that, because immediately she gets very defensive when they ask her some questions. But then later on, she kind of mellows out a little bit, kind of like, I'm not going to answer these questions. How dare you ask me this? How dare you ask me that? This is under investigation or under review. That's the word they use. This is under review, so I'm not going to answer this. I'm not going to answer that. And all they asked her is TGU? Are you TG in the chat group? Is that you? I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer this. And so they want to stonewall. Okay? And then Hegseth, of course, oh boy, he goes on the offense right away. Right away. How dare you ask me these questions kind of attitude. Don't you know who I am? The arrogance, the hubris of these people, and the idiocy. Because, see, they know they're wrong. In their heart of hearts, they know what they did was wrong. They know what they did was stupid. But, of course, they're not going to admit to that. And, of course, the big boss man there, he's going to defend them. Like I said, no accountability, no responsibility. And they just want to talk about the success of the attack. Well, if you call killing a bunch of civilians, women and children that have absolutely nothing to do with attacking anybody or hurting anybody a success, then congratulations, you're a murderer. Congratulations on your success, because there's all kinds of blood on your hands because all you did was kill a bunch of innocent people. So you want to call that a successful attack? You go right ahead. Okay? You want to call that a successful mission? I call it murder. All right? But be that as it may, getting back to the whole questioning and answering of the hearings, because I'm listening to this stuff. Like I said, I got the time as I'm doing the work that I'm doing. I'm kind of on my own, and I can listen to things as I'm working. As I'm listening to this, I'm just like, this is unreal, because some of these congressmen, not so much senators, but some of these congressmen, they knew these people before, or congresswomen, they knew them before, they served with them before, Ratcliffe and Gabbard and so forth, Some of them are on their side, some of them kind of want answers or whatever, but then the veterans, they really wanted answers. And some of them wanted Hegseth's, resignation. And rightfully so, I believe, But because he hasn't had to answer too many questions as of yet, because, he's overseas and this and that. And then somebody brought up the drinking, and they thought that was way overboard. How dare you? How dare you go there? Really? If someone has a drinking problem, if they're an alcoholic, if they brag about it or whatever, they show their glass on screen, kind of thing, like, here's to you, let's toast to our success kind of thing. I think it's a legitimate inquiry, or query, I should say, I think it's legitimate to ask about that, especially if it's been an issue in the past or whatever. They'll say, well, that has nothing to do with now, and I think you kind of have to be drunk to do this, actually. I mean, drunk and stupid to do the things that they've done on this chat group and putting lives at risk. And people say, well, that didn't really happen or whatever. Oh, just wait. Just wait. Okay? Maybe not this go round, but just wait. If no stop is put to it, if they don't take their jobs more seriously and they don't shut the heck up, and do what they're supposed to do as far as operational security goes, because, like I said, there's no accountability. Nobody's learning a lesson here, They're just getting more and more defiant. Yeah, maybe they're embarrassed and they won't do it again kind of thing, but you just wait, because the arrogance makes people stupid. See, and that's what you have here. You have so much arrogance. Nobody's going to take us down. Nobody can hurt us. Nobody can hurt this country. We're under God's good graces, really, And even if they don't believe that, or if they think that way, they just think that we're so powerful, militarily speaking, that nobody can do anything to us. We're impenetrable, And in the meantime, let's just tariff more countries, let's just make 25% more tariffs to put more hurting on people, more hurting on the American people with the tariffs on the automobile industry and whatnot, for vehicles that aren't made here. Let's just keep putting a hurting on people and then deceiving them, believing that, oh, we're exposing this and exposing this, and there's, so much fraud and so much corruption and blah, 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 blah. In the meanwhile, American families won't be able to afford to live. They won't be able to afford to pay their bills. They won't be able to afford to put gas in their car, afford groceries or anything. And it's amazing to me how naive and gullible people are, and how they just walk around deceived all the time, and they don't get it. And I mean, it all comes together, whether people see it or not, they realize it or not. It all comes together. And one thing leads to another, leads to another. It's a slippery slope. So don't be surprised if big capital I, big capital F, things pop off this weekend in a major way, or next week, or whatever. Maybe it won't be till next month or the 2 months, because it seems like Iran's not taking our cartoon president's threat seriously. That's what it seems like to me. Oh, I'm going to give you 2 months, where you don't have capabilities to do this or do that, and you're going to acquiesce and you're going to do what we say. And they're like, forget you, man. We're going to do what we want. You need 2 months. Give me a break. It's like we'll attack now. We'll do what we want to do now. It is like, you give us 2 years. We don't care. We're going to do what we want to do. I mean, the hubris, the arrogance. You're going to get 2 months, and then all hell's going to break loose. We're going to unleash hell on you. I was like, really? How about we just attack Israel's airport? How's that? With hypersonic missile, and just see where things go from there. See how they escalate from there. So don't be surprised if things pop off this weekend or next week, or like I said, man, maybe it takes a month or two. I don't know. I doubt it. We'll see. Springtime is wartime. We'll see. So, but yeah, I mean, I just can't get over this whole chat group thing. It boggles the mind. Like I said, being in the military, having security clearance, I was telling one person, I was like, it's been over 30 years, close to 35 years since I was in Desert Storm, and I still have never told anybody that I'm aware of the task force that I was in. Why? Because I'm not comfortable with it. Operational security. Would it matter at this point in time? No, probably not. But it's just one of those things, because it's beaten into your head. You shut up. You don't talk to people about certain things. Not even your family. Nobody. You don't talk about certain... And if you're unsure, then shut up. If you don't know, then shut up. Or get permission to talk about it. And to say, hey, is it okay? Is this secure? Should we talk about this here? Should we talk about that? And it's like nobody had the wisdom or the discernment or the knowledge to say, hey, guys, maybe this group isn't as secure as we think it is. Maybe we shouldn't be talking about this. Maybe, because, Musk always brags about how you can hack everything, the Everything app, right? And how everything can be hacked and anything can be hacked. But let's go on a chat group and let's talk about attack plans or whatever else. Nobody had the wisdom or the discernment. Why? Because too much arrogance. That's why. Nobody could say, there was no bell going off in their head at all saying, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we shouldn't talk about this. What if this gets hacked? What if this gets leaked out? What if it gets leaked to our enemies? What if it gets leaked to the very people that we're planning to attack? Nobody had the wisdom, the knowledge, the discernment, the intelligence in our national security agencies. Nobody. Not one of these idiots. Not one of them. Really. And these are the people that we trust our security to. Like I said, they're children. They're children. And it was proven by how defensive they got when the questions were asked. Like I said, Tulsi chilled out a little bit. She mellowed out because I think she realized, oh, I'm not a congresswoman anymore. I actually have to answer these questions. I actually owe an explanation to people. And she kind of mellowed then. But at first, she didn't. But Kash Patel, he was cool all along for the most part, but he wasn't involved. He's like, I don't know anything about this. I wasn't in this thing at all. I have no idea what you people are talking about, kind of thing. He's a funny guy, you know. He's like, I'm not involved in this at all. I don't know anything about this. But then, you know, Ratcliffe, that guy's a moron. You know, Walls, oh, all of them gone. They should be gone. And let's talk about this too, real briefly, okay? Where do their allegiances really lie? Because if people really do their homework and their research, you'll understand that some, if not all these people, are Kabbalists, okay? Like, if you see them without their shirt on, like, so the people that do their homework and research like I do and others, you know, you will know that some of these people have interesting tattoos that show where their allegiances really lie, you know, like the ones that have drinking problems, for instance, you know, or did have drinking problem, or whatever the case would be. You'll know where their allegiances really lie. You know, if you listen to Jamie Walden, very interesting, it wasn't because it was an oversight, or it wasn't because he's not swearing to this republic but to the next republic, or not on this constitution but to the next constitution, and all this other Q crap. No. The reason that the cartoon president didn't put his hand on the Bible is because he's a Kabbalist. That's why. Because they don't swear allegiance to anyone or anything except Kabbalism. Look it up. Is that a word, Kabbalism? I don't know. But they're Kabbalists. That's why. Jewish mysticism. Okay? So they're not going to have allegiance to this country. They're not going to have allegiance to the Constitution. They're definitely not going to have allegiance to Jesus, to the New Testament. So they're not going to swear on the Bible. Hello? Come on. Starting to make sense? Starting to get it now? That's why. All right? People have to listen. They have to do some homework. They have to do some research. They have to find out some things for themselves and just stop listening to all the talking heads out there on a television screen or whatever else, you know, and research for themselves. And then you find out the truth of things. And then it begins to make sense. And when you find out where allegiances truly lie, then it makes a whole lot more sense. You know, but no, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care till they have to bury their own sons and daughters, grandsons and granddaughters and family members or whatever, because of the stupidity of these people and where their allegiances really lie. So yeah, they should be fired. They should resign and probably jail time. Not that any of that'll matter because they probably let them out in 30 days anyway, you know, but all of these things should happen, but none of it will. And the American people won't care. They won't care. People talk about, take it to the streets on this, take it to the streets on that. If you want to take it to the streets on something, people should be taking it to the streets on this. Because right now, you know, it's like, oh, well, no, nothing was leaked that was the classified. Really? If it can't be told to the American people straight out, then it's classified. Okay? Let's be real here. So, oh, no, nothing was leaked. Nothing was leaked that was classified. Really. I got some oceanfront property in Arizona I want to sell you too, right? I mean, come on. Don't be so gullible and naive. It's all classified. If it wasn't classified, then they wouldn't have to do it at a chat app with just amongst a few people, you know, including a journalist that was supposedly inadvertently invited. Whatever. That's just ridiculousness. But, I mean, it's all classified. And that means that if it leaks out, if it gets out, it puts lives in danger. Innocent lives in danger. You know? So this time around, you kind of get away with it. What about next time around? There's no accountability, so they'll do it again. Maybe not on this app, but they'll find another secure app or whatever else, or chat group or what. They won't learn. They won't learn. Because they're arrogant and they're stupid. And it's going to put innocent lives at risk. And then when enough people have to bury their sons and daughters and grandsons and granddaughters, then they'll care. Then they'll care. When enough people can't afford groceries, enough people can't get to get money out of the ATM, enough people can't afford gas, they can't afford this, they can't afford that, then they'll realize how it's all connected, how it's all for the dismantling and destruction of this country. Then they'll care. But until that time, it's like, whatever, I'm just blowing hot air. I have no idea what I'm talking about, and I'm just blowing hot air, you know? And I'm just completely clueless about the whole thing. We're going to find out, because I implore you to prepare. I implore you to get ready. I implore you not to waste time. I implore you, because this attack on the Ben Gurion airport in Israel, that ain't no joke, man. And the earthquake in Myanmar, that's really bad too. What is a 7.7 and a 6.4 aftershock? I know one doesn't have to do with the other, but it's just, we're in those times now, folks. We're in the end times. We can expect anything at any time now. Death, chaos, violence, insanity, everywhere. Just expect anything at any time. That's all I can say. Be on your guard. Be prayed up, prepped up. Be as prepared as you can be. Be on your guard. Don't let your guard down, because it's going to get intense. And right now, people don't care. But they will. The last thing, real quick. God's Soldiers Watchman channel, Hank, and his group, they're going out to downtown Indianapolis today, I believe around 1 p.m. They might live stream it if they can. They're going to be preaching the word. They're going to be preaching to people that are going into the basketball games today for March Madness, the basketball tournament. So please pray for them, for their safety, and people will get saved. People will repent. They won't just cuss them out and ignore them as they walk in to go watch people put basketballs in a hoop. You know, I know that's exciting and fun and everything else, and how people do it during the day, you know, instead of going to their jobs or whatever. Maybe they don't have them. I don't know. It's amazing to me what people prioritize. They can afford to pay tickets to watch basketball games, but they can't afford to do other things. It amazes me. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, just pray for their safety and protection, please. And maybe people get saved. Maybe the word will penetrate their hearts. And maybe people will say, hey, yeah, I need Jesus. You know, but right now, it's like, hey, basketball, March Madness. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. I like basketball too. You know, I get it. It's fun. It's exciting, or whatever else. But these people, man, so oblivious, so clueless about everything. So it's time to start getting a clue. It's time to stop being so naive and gullible and deceived. And people start getting some discernment that only comes through the Holy Spirit, and it only comes through prayer, and it only comes through seeking the Lord, and it only comes through, you know, finding the truth of things, if people care to do that. So, all right, I got to go. Y'all have a great, blessed day. Take care, and I'll talk to you some other time. Bye-bye.